How about that Ravens win yesterday, folks? What a victory it was, and no better way to cap off a Ravens win than subbing for Dubs here on Ravens Rundown. Help us get to our next milestone of 14.5 thousand subscribers on the channel. Less than 250 away from doing so, as we are your home for the run to the playoffs. We're going to be doing more watch parties, daily news and rumors, live shows, mailbags, and more. Subscribe now, join the family, and be a part of what we're doing every day here on Ravens Rundown. Happy Victory Monday. Thanks for joining us in the program. Tyler Jones here as we are talking about potential replacements for Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell, the star rookie who had run so well over the last several weeks. His season is likely done. That's according to Ravens head coach John Harbaugh last night, as he suffered a non-contact knee injury. So now where the Ravens go from here, we have some replacement options for Baltimore of who they could potentially add to this roster. Now, it is worth noting that the Ravens did promote Melvin Gordon to the 53-man active roster. But if you've been watching this show for any length of time, yours truly, I am not much of a fan of Melvin Gordon, if I'm going to be honest, be frank with y'all. And so what we're going to do today is show you what some other potential options may be if the Ravens decide that Melvin Gordon's not good enough, if they want to look at some other options. There are some out there. We'll examine those in just a moment. Let's begin with the Ravens depth chart, how things look right now. As you can see, Gus Edwards is your top running back. Justice Hill, the number 2 back, with Melvin Gordon, the number 3 back, and then Patrick Ricard hanging around as your starting fullback there. In the rushing numbers, Gus Edwards was your leading rusher for quite some time, but after Lamar had nearly 100 yards last night, he's taken back that mantle as the leading rusher for the Ravens with 741 yards and 5 touchdowns. But even though Keaton Mitchell had not been on the active roster a long amount of time. Remember, he missed the first, 4 games this season when he was on the PUP list. His presence was greatly known and delivered of the production that he was able to put together. Nearly 400 yards and 47 carries. He led this team in yards per carry by a mile. It wasn't even close, 8.4 with 2 rushing touchdowns. So there's a lot to make up here. As you can see, Justice Hill has had more carries than Keaton Mitchell has, and hasn't even come close to the yardage that we've seen from Keaton Mitchell. So there's a lot to make up for that you're trying to pick up the ground left from Keaton Mitchell at this point. So what do you think? Do you like where the Ravens are at now, promoting Melvin Gordon, or do they need to add another running back? Weigh in the comment section. Give me a name let me know what you think. Y for yes, in for no, or pin comment today if the Ravens need to add another running back or not. Let's start with Leonard Fournette, the most notable name of the players that we'll be discussing here on today's show. Leonard Fournette waiting for the call to get an opportunity to get activated on somebody's active roster. He's been talked about a lot by teams across the NFL over the last couple of months. Most recently joined the Buffalo Bills practice squad, but hasn't quite gotten the activation to their active roster. And with that, because he's on a practice squad, not on the active roster for Buffalo, the Ravens, if they so choose, could take Leonard Fournette directly from the Bills practice squad and activate them on their 53-man roster for the former Super Bowl champion running back. The last time that we saw Leonard Fournette in live game action in 2022, his yards per rush has gone down to about 3.5 with 3 touchdowns, 668 yards last year, but the durability's there. He did play in 16 games last season, so he does have that going for him. As the Ravens are down to the home stretch, you'd have to think they'd been looking at trying to find somebody they can count on there. What about Leonard Fournette? You want to see him in Baltimore? Let us know. S for sign, P for pass. If the Ravens should sign Leonard Fournette or not, chime in, let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time, the best place to go for tickets. The best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed, whether you're talking sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more. Game Time has got you covered. It's real simple. Here's how it works, folks. You download the Game Time app. You pick the game or the event you want to go to. Then you find the seat, and you get the view of what your seat's going to look like. And then within a matter of moments, bam, you're checking out, you're downloading your tickets, and it's real simple. You can use Apple Pay or Google Pay and have your tickets within moments. Maybe you decide on a whim, I want to go to a Ravens game this weekend. You can do so. I've done that before, whether it was going to an Orioles baseball game or a number of events with Game Time. Did so just very fast with Game Time. Sign up for Game Time today. We're offering our viewers of Ravens Rundown $20 off when you use the promo code RavensChat at checkout. Download Game Time today. Terms and conditions do apply. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Ravens Rundown. Next on the list is Ronald Jones, the second, a former teammate of Leonard Fournette there in Tampa Bay. And Ronald Jones most recently was with the Dallas Cowboys for a hot minute earlier this year. Former two-time Super Bowl champion. One of the big concerns of sorts with teams that were potentially interested in Ronald Jones this offseason was the suspension. He did serve that, 2-game suspension for PEDs, so he is cleared from that. He would be immediately eligible to play if he were to go to the Ravens or any other team for that matter. Last year, didn't see Ronald Jones a whole lot. Was held to just 17 carries for 70 yards, but did have a decent average, 4.1 with 1 touchdown. The year prior to that, 428 yards, 4.2 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns there. A familiar name for Ravens fans, that is Kenyan Drake, who has made multiple stops in Baltimore within the last couple of years, as recently as this season. Currently on the Green Bay Packers practice squad. And you talk about familiarity and somebody that you know well, Kenyan Drake would be that guy. Kenyan Drake, we mentioned on this active roster at one point this year, was also a guy that started 5 games for Baltimore and was the Ravens' 3rd leading rusher in 2022. And being on the practice squad of the Packers, you can take him right now if you want. Last season, when he was 3rd in rushing for the Ravens, his yards per carry was decent, 4.4 with 4 touchdowns, 482 yards. But I think we all remember the infamous fumble that kind of cost him his job most recently with this Baltimore Ravens team. So something to keep in mind there on that front. What about bringing back Kenyan Drake? Do you like the idea? Do you hate the idea? Be honest with me. Let you know. HY for hell yes, you want Kenyan Drake back. HN for hell no. Weigh in that comment section. Next up is Daryl Williams, Super Bowl champion Daryl Williams, that is. Daryl Williams had a hot minute with the New Orleans Saints earlier this year. Also was with the Cardinals and the Chiefs. Won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. Actually had a touchdown score in that said Super Bowl with Kansas City a couple of years back. And durability. I think you go back to 2021, played all 17 games, rushing for 6 touchdowns, 558 yards. This past season, 21 carries, 102 yards, and good yards per carry average, near 5 yards per carry with a touchdown there in 2022. The last player on this list is Giovani Bernard. And Giovani Bernard, this is somebody that is not necessarily talked about a whole lot because he did announce his retirement back on April 28th. But with these deals and the Ravens' situation of where they're at, of, hey, they're down to the home stretch of the regular season, getting ready for the playoffs, and being a championship caliber team, this might be the type of situation that you can entice a guy like Giovani Bernard to come out of retirement for these set of circumstances. The flip side of him being retired is that he is fresh, that he is healthy, he's sitting out there. But with that said, is he in football shape? That remains to be seen. Started 8 games last season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but his statistics aren't that great if we're going to be quite honest with you. But did have a decent run with the Bengals and the Bucs as well. So somebody to potentially keep in mind there, a veteran with a lot of experience that we have seen play at a high level before. So let's ask you guys, now that we've gone through all these names, I know there's not a great obvious option, maybe Leonard Fournette, but that seems about it, basically. Who do you think the Ravens should sign? Who's the running back they should add to this roster? Give me a name in that comment section. Thanks for joining us here on Ravens Rundown today. For more Ravens coverage, subscribe to the channel now. We'll see you here on the channel next time.